excited. I'm chatting today with Tim from the Amenta, a pretty recent return to the live front, and we're going to talk about how Black Planet that's coming up, and a few other things. Tim, how are you?
Yeah, good. Nice to see you, Mark. Thanks for having me on.
No worries. So I wanted to first start off with whose idea was it to bring Mark back, and how did that kind of eventuate? Or was it a conversation about the first album particularly? Because that's kind of going back to 2013, isn't it? It's quite a jump
Oh, it's
back, isn't it?
even earlier. That was 2004. So it's 22 years for
Oh, yeah,
pretty
yeah.
crazy. Yeah. So it hit its 20-year anniversary, and we wanted to do something with it. And things had kind of come to a bit of an end with Kane, who'd been singing for us since about 2009, I think. So we'd been working with him for a long time, and it just kind of came to a bit of a natural end. So we were looking for something. We wanted to keep going. I mean, there was always discussions about it. Maybe that's it, but we wanted to keep going. And Occasus had kind of just hit its 20-year anniversary, and we were, thinking about who we could get, who we'd get for vocals. We talked to a few people, and we talked about a lot of people, but always in the back of our mind was like, oh, maybe get Mark back. Maybe get Mark back. And we went, Eric and I, Eric the guitar player, we went up and just sort of had a conversation with Mark, and this was like right after that last tour, which is the Plague of Locust one. Just after that, we had a couple of things that potentially were lined up. So we went and spoke with Mark, and what do you think about this? And he was pretty honest. He's like, yeah, I would absolutely love to do it, but we're going to need some time to get ready. So maybe not those things, but let's work on some stuff. And so that's kind of what we did. So, it's only recently been announced to people, I guess, since the shows we did with Ulcerate. But we've been working with Mark for like a year or so, just kind of rehearsing when we can. We all live obviously all around the country, so it's difficult to kind of get together, but when we can. But that first rehearsal, the first song we kind of learnt and played together was Second off the first album.
Yeah.
And it was like being 20 again. It was awesome. Like Mark's voice is just so like so huge and bestial. It was unreal. It was a really cool experience.
It's because I think. Oh, sorry. Yeah. And my first question, I mean, because he left in 2013. That's what I meant to say. That was more my kind of. I don't know if the history lesson is correct. Did he leave around then, or was it?
No, that was so he left where he was sort of in the band from the start. We kind of, I guess, we formed the band in about 2000, and he played on or sung on our first couple of releases, which was we did a mini CD in 2002, and then the album in 2004, and then we hadn't played live by that point. We did a bunch of touring in 2005, and I think by 2006, Mark, we kind of parted ways with Mark, and then we got a guy called Jared who sung on our second album, and then Kane came in 2009 and sung on everything up to this point, sorry. So
Yeah.
Mark's,
I also got my facts wrong. I was like, because I've seen that. I know, and it's like with the, it's a passage of time.
yeah,
And I wanted to. It's funny what you touched on as well, because you would. I mean, his voice on that first album is so kind of powerfully singular. Did he step back? I mean, obviously, it sounds like that magic, and that you step back into it easily. Did he step back into that register pretty easy? Because it's like the same guy stepping back into that 20-year-old skin, isn't it? Almost.
yeah, yeah. It was. We weren't certain how it would go. He'd recorded some stuff. He plays in a band called Death Feeder as well up in Newcastle, which is like a HM2 kind of death grind thing, which is really cool. But he'd sung a track for them on a demo, which we'd heard, and was like, oh yeah, he still got it. But he hasn't really sung much since then. He's just playing guitar with them, so he hasn't been singing with them. So he was relatively confident. We hadn't really heard much, but when we walked in and just started playing, he just opened his mouth and it came out, and it's like there's been no change in the voice. It's still the same thing. It's very cool.
Because I catch I seen the Ulcerate show in Melbourne, and that was just phenomenal. Because I love Ulcerate as well, but I
Yeah,
think
cool man.
people were very overwhelmed by the performance. It was really just, because I think there was, definitely people that had seen you, myself included, a lot, many times, but it was very overwhelming. Which I mean, obviously, that's I suppose, the provocative nature of the band, since the start,
Yeah.
in a very good way. But the sound, the light, but the voice was so, and that album's lost no power whatsoever. It was like just
Oh, thank you.
incredible, really.
Yeah,
Great, great show. Yeah.
yeah, that felt like a good one to us. That was we played Adelaide the night before, but that was one where it's like, oh yeah, we hit our stride there. That was a good one.
Yeah, yeah, I see. I seen because I sneakily popped out in between before Ulcer Rate or in between. And I actually seen Mark at the burger place outside the front because I was waiting for my order and he was at the
Hey.
front. I went, hang on a minute. And I was chatting to him and he said, yeah, he was very excited about it all. And he goes, yeah, yeah, it wasn't bad. And I said, dude, don't be humble. That was like really, people were jaws on the ground.
Oh,
And
great, awesome.
um, and not only talking about Mark, what I love, and I kind of had forgotten about you, is just how animated you are on stage. Like I like, that's not. I know that's not a new thing, but just how you were kind of running forward and kind of like vibing the crowd up. I thought, man, that was excellent. Like
Oh, cool.
that was great. Like that's it's more interactive, isn't it? A little
Yeah,
bit like when I suppose like the Pig Destroyer keyboard guy, and also I think half of them when Nailbomb toured. I think it was the guitarist and that keyboard guy, and
yeah,
that was the standout performance. Was that he was just so animated into it.
yeah. He's great.
So
He's awesome.
yeah, um, so so what sort of changed about sort of I suppose you and Eric have been the mainstay since the start.
Yeah.
Where is that kind of progress? Where is it sort of sitting now? Because you've obviously come back and that's been super successful. How has it been stepping back into those shoes and what's next? I suppose the two sort of questions.
Yeah. I mean, it's been awesome. It's for Eric and I, we haven't stopped, even though, like, no one sees it from the outside, but it's always like something we're working on. So even in that period in between Flesh's Air in 2013 and Revelator in 2021, massive gap. People thought we disappeared and we kind of said we're not playing live and all that sort of stuff, but we were kind of constantly writing and doing stuff and working on things. So for us, it's like it's never stopped. But what's really cool about this is we've got such a strong lineup now. We've got obviously Dave playing drums, who's been playing with us off and on forever.
Yeah,
who's an absolute powerhouse. And then Mark, great voice. And then we've also got Matt Wilcock on guitar, which is incredible. So he's a phenomenal player, but he's also like such a riff writing machine. As anyone who's heard Werewolves knows, or Bremelin or anything that he's done, he's just churning out riffs left, right, and center, and they're all gold. So there's so many people who can contribute now, which is really exciting. So Eric and I have got a bunch of stuff we've been working on for a couple of years, but Matt sent us a bunch of things like, hey, I've got all this. What do you want? Take anything you want. So we're like, fuck, awesome. And Mark writes songs, plays guitar. He's playing bass, obviously, in the thing at the moment. But he's a guitar player as well, so he's got riffs. So there's so much stuff that we can work with, which is really cool, which we haven't really had before. We've never really been able to write with another guitar player.
Wow.
So it's very different. So hopefully it's going to be really cool. I think the stuff we're writing at the moment is pretty interesting. I think it'll fit Mark's voice really well. So I'm excited about it. I mean, long way away. Everything we do takes forever, but but it's sounding really cool.
And I know because obviously it's not, as you said, it's a work in progress and it takes time to kind of flesh that out. And that where does it sit? Because when you like when you listen to that first album, it's the intensity, and it probably touches on also the lineup you've got as well. Because I don't think any human drummer besides him could actually do that. Like when when you're that young, but it's it is. We know that's part of the music, but it's the fury and pace is insane. So
Yeah.
tempo wise, where do you think it'll be, or will it be? Yeah, who knows?
Yeah, I mean, there's some stuff in there that's super quick, and there's other stuff. There's more of the doomy stuff that we've been doing over the last few as well. So there's a bunch of stuff in there, but Dave can still do it. He can still do the same stuff he was doing at 22. His feet still move that fast, so do his hands. So we can still do all that stuff, which is cool. I think you've got to have. I think the last few we were a little bit. We pulled back on the throttle a little. So I think this new one's got a bit more of that aggression and speed in it, which is kind of cool. But there is big open, doomy bits and ambient bits and all that sort of stuff in there as well. So
yeah, because I think like with some of the releases, it was I think all the releases have been stunning, but it was a more, I suppose, that theatrical element in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not as a negative. I think it was brilliant. From across that, even with the covers and all that stuff, it was amazing. The theatrical stuff was brilliant. So it's where it sits now, I suppose, because it's a long passage of time with a lot of music.
Yeah, yeah. It'll be interesting to see how it turns out, because at the moment it's just been our songwriting style is we kind of write skeletons, really sort of absolute nuts and bolts kind of stuff. So it's like a couple of guitars and drums and like a little bit of sprinkling of synth stuff, just to kind of an idea, but it's all kind of there in our heads of like, oh, that's probably what we'll do. That's how it'll work. Everything's just kind of a signpost to what it's going to be. But when you get the voice on and all that sort of stuff, and you start building it, because we kind of like build it from that skeleton up and just kind of fill everything in, you start to get like a whole different feel about it. And I think the last stuff we did was more theatrical, because that's Kane's style. That's his kind of persona and what he brought to the band, all that sort of stuff. And that'll still be in there, but probably focusing more on that, like the power. Mark's voice is like a really brutal, like straightforward instrument. So we sort of use that and harness that, and I think that'll be really interesting.
And are you going to continue? Because one aspect that I really love throughout the whole band is the the whole art, audio visual aspect of it as well. I mean, because one of my favorite things is the I think it was the Virus EP that comes out.
Yeah.
I mean, that's astonishing still to see that. I mean, people go to Dark Mofo and like, they see like a new thing, and it wasn't a new thing, like that was, part of that, because you've been involved in that, and obviously the samples and noises, and because I think you even did you do some noise or effects for Psychroptic on one of the albums as well? Was that?
Yeah. Long time ago,
yeah.
But that was, not to toot my own horn, but back in the sort of early 2000s, there wasn't a lot of that around. There wasn't a lot of the noise stuff. There was like a big noise scene, but the crossover between metal and noise wasn't as established as it is now. Nowadays, there's a lot of bands who do this sort of thing, especially like the Dark Mofo, the Roadburn kind of side of things. That's a big crossover. But back in those days, there wasn't so much. So I loved, obviously death metal, black metal, and all that sort of stuff. That was kind of the bread and butter. But around about like late 90s, early 2000s, started getting really into power electronics and death industrial and all that sort of stuff. And obviously there's a lot aesthetically that's similar across both. And I'm sure there's a lot of people who are fans of both, but there weren't a lot of bands who were doing that. There was MZ412 from Norway, I know, is notable, bringing a bit of black metal and things like that. But from a death metal side, not a lot. But then you had things like Morbid Angel always had little keyboard intros, Akakoka, stuff like that. Akakoka were probably dealing with a little bit of the noise side. So all that sort of stuff is like, oh, this is an obvious way to go. And we really early on, we were kind of listening to stuff and going, wow, everything's so fast. Can't get any faster. I remember having a conversation with Eric, probably, a few drinks in at one point, going, what's the next extreme? You can't get heaps faster without it just being dumb. What's the next extreme? And we're like, I think it's noise. So we're gonna play with noise. I know that's, as the keyboard player, I don't really like that 90s style black metal keyboards where it all sounds like fake orchestras and it's all really bombastic and things like that. So it was like, how can I take this instrument and make myself feel a little bit cooler? And so it was, I'll just run it through a metal zone or something like that. And so experimenting that way. And that was heaps of fun. So I'm glad you enjoyed that. The virus thing, I think there's probably like 5 or 6 people out there who really, really like it, and I'm one of them. I'm glad you are too.
Oh man, I love it. I love seeing that stuff, and I think that merges really well. You know, like that's a you know, I'm in a band as well, but we're kind of low level. But you know, I want to do that from the I like the strobes and the accompanying kind of the video stuff, because when you see bands that do that, like the Belgian post metal band Amun-Ra as
Oh
well.
yeah, yeah.
That just like it's haunting, but it's just it's the combination of putting that together, merges so perfectly. So yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's really fantastic. Like that's a because you done and you guys have even done like an ambient track, wasn't there? There was some ambient stuff of some
Yeah,
ambient
there's
version of a track or something.
we did on the first album, there was a whole multimedia section in it, which had
Mm.
4 or 5 ambient tracks, which we released on Bandcamp, probably 10 years ago or so, just as a
Yeah.
little standalone release. But they were kind of in there, but you can only find that if you chuck a CD in your computer and it start up a program and it'll all be in there.
Oh, the codes or something. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So we did all that. But I mean, talking about Virus, I do have to shout out Nathan Jenkins, who was our bass player at the time. He did the actual video side, so he was really instrumental in that. So I did the music, he did the video. So it was the two of us kind of working on that together.
Oh wow, because I was going to mention it, but I couldn't. I had a brain fart then. I couldn't think. The act that he's in, they supported Mayhem, and I was trying
Yeah.
to think.
Host.
What are they called?
Host.
Host, of course, yeah. Because I
Yeah.
was going to say, at that the big Mayhem show in Melbourne, that was just. I think people were really surprised about that, and that was, in his solo work as well. But that was incredible, that performance. Like I just, yeah. But I've seen, yeah, his multimedia work is, yeah, wild.
Yeah, he does some cool stuff.
Yeah. So, do you do any other solo projects or any other music on the side that you make as well? Or it sounds like you've been pretty busy with that and life anyway.
Yeah. I mean, there's some stuff. I like to think that anything like I am interested in doing kind of has a place to fit in the Amenta.
Yep.
So most of the I've recorded a bunch of like keyboardy kind of ambienty, noisy things, like not synthwave, because that's like a specific sound, but it's like weird little ambient things that are long tracks that on keyboards and things, which we'll probably use as an Amenta thing at some stage. That's kind of sitting around waiting for a release. I'm not really interested in playing any other bands. This is the band that I like. It's kind of working with Eric is kind of what I've done forever. So working with someone else,
Yeah,
sure I'd really be into. So I just do it, but I do occasional things like I'll remix someone's track, or I'll do someone will ask for an intro and I'll do that. If they're friends, I'll just knock something out for them. So that sort of thing I'll do, but
that's cool.
It's the Amenta or bust.
Yeah. How did the Ulcerate tour? How did that come about? I mean, you probably, I don't know if you know them or whatever, because was it about kind of the merging of the genres, or just a good bill, or how did that come about? Because that was really, like a great tour.
Yeah, so we've known them for years. We played with them a bunch. In the early days, we played in New Zealand a few times and played with them. They came over here once and we played with them. So we played a lot with them. We know them well. They're on the same record label as well. And we'd been talking for a long time about doing something, and they're a very active band. Obviously, they're constantly touring. They don't have any lineup problems. There's 3 of them. They're great mates. They're always together. We, on the other hand, are constantly in a state of falling apart. So things would kind of come up and like, oh, I can't do it right now. We're working on this, or we're doing this, or whatever. And then finally we got to a thing where I think Eric actually reached out and go, hey, we're ready. We want to do something. What are you guys up to? Are you doing Australia? And they were like, yeah, we are. So we sorted that out. So thankfully we could actually get that happening, because they're not only a phenomenal band, like they're one of the best in the world, of a really unique style. I was saying to someone the other day, it's such a strange thing where you see people being reviewed who get called like Ulcerate-esque, or like Ulcerate, and no one actually sounds like them. They just sound like they're like a discordant skronky band, but that's not what Ulcerate actually is anymore. Their new stuff's like this melodic sort of worldscape. It's not this, it's
Yeah.
not really discordant. It's just really weird melodies, and no one does that. So I think what they're doing is amazing. But so not only are they that, but they're absolutely phenomenal people, like really, really good guys, great to hang out with. So it was great. We had a really good time.
Yeah, they're a bit of a one-off. I definitely agree. Like that's particularly in the live front. Yeah, it's kind of like it kind of bits almost dip over into semi kind of shoegazy, but also proggy stuff as well. And
Yeah,
you're sitting there just going, people are, you know, you're. I saw like a lot of people at that gig. They were really focusing, and it was like, wow, this is just like it's so they're just so skilled, and you can't pigeonhole them, which is great. So,
yeah,
um, so you've got next weekend. You're coming down for the Black Planet show, which is a big sort of over 3 venues. Are you looking forward to that? Because I think it's kind of quite a like a pub show really for you guys, like venue wise.
yeah,
So with a really mixed, a lot of mixed bill, across the whole lot. So
yeah. Well, I think that's what makes it really exciting. You can go see 5 death metal bands, and you know what you're going to get, and it is what it is, and that's enough. But it's the shows where you're going to see the surprising stuff. I think is really, really cool, and the fact that spread over 3 stages, so you can wander around a bit and see what's happening. Like obviously, as we were saying earlier, I'm really into the noise stuff, so checking out some of that stage is definitely high on my priority. A band called Knife playing, love to catch them.
yeah, good plug.
Yeah, so it's those sort of shows are always fun. It'll be really cool to play that. Obviously, from a small pub size, that's always good fun. It's one thing to present the big show and all that sort of stuff, but the small, really intense in your face ones, they're always good times.
Yeah, I think it'll be very kind of intimate space, and that'll be good to like that's it's sort of scaling it back, but then it's got you're really within reach of the audience and stuff. So I think it'll be that's the bonus there. So you're probably going to scale back the lights and that probably slightly, don't you? I don't. I mean, don't reveal anything, but
Well, our lighting guy Swanee, I think would absolutely refuse to scale anything back. So it's probably going to be the same amount
unreal.
of lights, just in a smaller space.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's going to be pretty fucking intense, I think.
And then you've got because you were talking about mixed bill and that because I went last year to Essence Festival, and I think it's one of the best festivals in Australia.
Yeah,
I think that'll be incredible as well in October. So that's got again very mixed and all that. And the beauty about it last year was exactly what you're talking about. You could see a metal band in one room, and then you've got a single person there just with some noise pedals or a clarinet through
yeah,
effects. Just fantastic.
yeah. I mean, I'm really looking forward to that one because Dan's a guy we've known for a long time as well. And he asked us, I think he's asked us for the other 2 fests, and we couldn't do it for whatever reason. So it was good to finally say yes. And I've only heard good things about it. A friend of mine played his in Adivus Infectum, which is like a dark ambient thing with banjo.
Oh yeah, I've seen that. That was amazing. Yeah, I met that guy. That was lovely. That was
Yeah, he's great. He's
incredible.
a mate of mine for a long time and lives up around near me. He said it was amazing. I think that was one of his first gigs, and he said it was just such a great experience. So I'm really looking forward to it. It'll be great.
Yeah, and I think what you said, Dan is not only a lovely bloke. I think it's one of the most organised. It was just from start to end before the show. Like just with the bands and stuff, everything was just and like not a too bigger feel as well. It just felt like like super relaxed and a whole mix of people there, and
Yeah,
just and the basso it's a great room as well. Like it just really that sound. I would love even in Melbourne. We don't have we have like bigger venues and in between, but that was the right size and really
yeah,
wicked sound and stuff. So so that'll be good for you guys, the big sound and the audio visual stuff as well.
yeah.
So that's something to look. And have you got much planned after October then, or just it sounds like you're writing music and
Yeah, that's the big plan. We've got a couple of things that we're working on. So there's the new album. There's a couple of other little trinkets that we want to get sorted. But then we haven't booked anything in, but we're kind of looking around because it'd be nice to kind of keep a little bit of movement going now that we've got a functioning band. We don't want Matt to get bored, and we don't want Mark to disappear again. So we're going to keep moving.
Yeah, that's good. Now as you were just mentioning, the Berserker have also reformed as well. They're with a new song and some. I think there's like an overseas show booked as well.
Yeah.
Does it seem like that's a kind of a moment for, I suppose we'll call it industrial metal in that kind of broader thing? Is it a coincidence, or and there's also some new wave stuff from One Last Enemy from Sydney,
Yeah.
hence Confetti as well from your neck of the woods as well,
Yeah.
and also All This Filth from Perth as well. Do you think it's a bit of a? It's good to see it back. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think industrial metal took a bit of a beating after Morbid Angel did the Illud album.
Yeah.
After that, it was like, this is not cool. So it's nice that it had that like little dip and it's building back up again. I think there's people are moving towards uglier sounds, which is cool. And that's where industrial kind of lends itself well to the, lots of distortion and horrible sounding things. It's not necessarily just, nice sounding traditional heavy metal. So I suspect that's the case. I mean, Berserker are a very extreme case. I think they've been teasing a comeback for a long time. And from what I understand, it's been in the works for a bit. But they're playing, I think it's Damnation Fest over in the UK, which is huge. Like that'll be massive. I wish I could see it. But Matt's there and Sam, who had played bass with us for a bit there. He's over there, so that's really cool. And we've toured with the Berserker before a couple of times. We were kind of like, hey, you should do some Australian stuff. I don't know if that's ever happening, but something we suggested, because that would be a pretty cool tour to do again. Little nostalgia trip.
Yeah, the good mate of mine who's in my band, and he has a team. He's been in a lot of different bands, from sludge bands and all that. And his biggest memories as a teenager were all ages shows with you guys together. He said that
really?
sort of, yeah. I think he must have seen, I don't know if it was in Melbourne or Sydney or where it was, he saw an all age show with you two together as a youngster, and he just said that was just, that set the course pretty hard, a pretty incredible mix. And yeah, but they're their own machine, aren't they? I just think it's, I love them dearly, but it's very hard to listen to a whole album front to back because it's just so intense, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. It's a pummeling.
Yeah, it definitely is. Now I was going to say, and just briefly, you've so even in the beginning, because you guys went overseas and you played some pretty big gigs over there. How did that kind of come about? And even from your getting that first debut onto a label, because it was all pretty it seemed fast, doesn't it? And it was happening very quick at that moment.
Yeah, it's funny. Definitely things back then felt like they took forever, but you look back and it was like, oh, that was a period of like 4 months. Nowadays, that's like we're still working on one riff for 4 months. So times changed. But back then, it was a very different world. So there was no real. I mean, obviously the internet was around, but it wasn't like it is now. And the Australian bands weren't really as known as they are now. So now that it's like the world's a lot smaller, people are kind of aware of bands and all that sort of stuff. But I think when we first started getting signed, there was very few Australian bands who were signed to international labels. There were a few, but not a lot. But that was kind of, we knew that was the way to go. You want to get a label in Europe if you want to get any touring over there or anything like that. You got to get over there and you got to have a presence. So our strategy was we released the Micklin mini CD, which is it's like 3 songs, 2 metal songs and an ambient track. And we didn't sell that. If someone asked, we'd sell it to them. But the prime reason for it was to print it up and send it out to zines and labels and all that sort of stuff, just send it out everywhere. Which we did. And, we got reviewed a lot of places and got good reviews. And one place, which was a webzine, which unfortunately no longer around, but it was called Chronicles of Chaos. And a guy there was friends with the label head of Listenable Records, who signed us for the first album. And he sent it to him and said, hey, you got to check this out. This will be up your alley. And so they reached out and said, hey, we're interested. And that was, it felt like forever between that first thing and then signing with them, but it was probably only 6 months. We demoed a whole album for them, sent it all over and did all that. And they released our first 3 albums, which was great. They were always awesome to deal with. But then because we're on them, we've got a bit of a presence in the European scene. And then we started really actively hitting up promoters. So it was like basically just cold emailing promoters like, hey, we're an Australian death metal band. We want to come over to Europe. What's going on? Just knocking on doors until you can get there. And then once you've done a few tours, you become a kind of a viable prospect. We got tired of that. And you look at someone like Psychroptic who didn't, and they've just gone,
yeah,
they've done it correctly, and they've grown with it. We just got tired.
Yeah. What were some of the highlights for your first kind of European tours? Because you got some pretty, and I mean, you did some good supports in Australia as well, but overseas you got some pretty big gigs, didn't you?
Yeah. So our first Euro tour was with Deicide, Vader, Samael. So it was like a stacked bill, and it was really cool. It was to go over there and play with these guys that you'd grown up listening to was amazing. And what was really interesting about that was because we'd had a bit of we'd concentrated on Europe. We had a couple of places where it was like people actually know us. So the one that always sticks in my head is we played in Katowice in Poland, and we were opening this 6-band tour. So we were like first on. But after we played, walking backstage and just hearing these guys going, the Amenta, they're like chanting our name.
Wow.
Was amazing. Like in the other side of the world. That was pretty cool. So that was really memorable. And then, we started getting a big head about that. And then we went to the US where we didn't have all that much distribution. No one knew anything about us. So that was a whole different thing. But that was also cool because you could go in and there's no preconceptions and people would just come up afterwards and go, oh, that was great. And so that was a whole different thing. But we played some big shows with that one as well because that was Deicide again, Vader again, Warbringer, a whole bunch of guys on that one.
Wow.
Another big tour. Augury, so really good bands. That was a killer one. So we did a bunch of really cool stuff. It's I'd recommend it if anyone can do it. It's a very good time. It's like it's not easy, but it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, because I think it's now they sort of you've got to plan it, don't they? Like I think a lot of bands, even with the cost of it as well. I think America is still one of the hardest ones. They say now the visa costs and that I heard it's insane now. Like you got to, unless you're the Psychroptic King Parrot, like that's a professional full-time kind of job, So that's it's pretty big experience there. Like in the playing those kind of things, no pressure there with those bands. So
yeah, that's right. No, but it was so much fun. It was really good people and just such a great experience.
So, one last question. So, what now do you think the Amenta has to prove to yourself or to, if no one else, because you've been around for that huge, a decent passage of time, some amazing performances and incredible albums. What's left now?
I think what we focus on each time is it's not so much about doing the next biggest thing. It's just doing something that's interesting still. And I think that's why our albums sound like they do. They don't really sound the same because you'll do one and then doing the same thing again isn't interesting. So it's about challenging ourselves and finding the thing. Like there's always an idea that you come up with, which is like, oh, that's amazing. Or sometimes it's like, oh, that's a bit scary. I'm not sure about that one, but that's kind of exciting. And so, we've done that, with the last album, a bunch of clean singing and stuff like that. It was like, oh, I don't know about that. But that was what made it right because it was like, oh, this feels uncertain and that's cool. That's exciting. So that's what we're chasing, that kind of feeling of like, this is exciting because you could at our age and with the amount of experience we have, I guess we could churn out the same stuff over and over again, but I don't think that would last long. I think we'd probably just implode because I don't think that's how we're wired. It's more about finding that exciting thing. So Eric and I we're writing every week. We get together, and sometimes it's just drinking beer, but usually it's just trying to throw around ideas and find that spark. And that's what takes the time, because you could churn out the same sort of stuff over and over again, but you got to find that one idea where you're like, oh, yep, that's the one we should work with. And so that's kind of where we currently are. So that the long-term plan is to keep doing that, keep finding something new to do. And that's not just in music, but it might be, hey, let's go play this show or play with these people, or anything like that. Just finding something that makes it more exciting for us.
Yeah, it's a big difference, isn't it? Than sort of, and we all know about the legacy bands that just, not only the same album, but just and you just think, like there's not that spark or that creativity really, and all the, like you said, the challenge of something that's a little bit uncomfortable. I mean, that makes it interesting.
Yeah. Like it's okay to fail. It doesn't really matter. In fact, in death metal, it doesn't matter at all. It doesn't change the fact that I still have a mortgage. It doesn't. If I succeed, it doesn't help me pay my mortgage. If I fail, it doesn't make a difference to my mortgage. So you might as well just give it a go.
That's it. I mean, yeah, and it sounds like, there's some new aspects of, with the noise stuff, and that there's so many places to go,
Yeah.
Even though the bones of it are very basic when we look at death metal and stuff, isn't it? But there's all those flavors, and I suppose that's what makes you guys so unique, really.
Thanks, man. Yeah, that's the plan.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it, and I would say you're insane if you don't get down to see these guys. I mean, it's a good show from kind of 5 o'clock till nearly about 1 a.m. A whole range of bands. So I think it'd be fantastic. But yeah, I think the big point is leading up to you guys headlining that stage. I think it'll be pretty incredible. So yeah, looking forward to it. So yeah, thanks so much for your time. You got any parting words for anyone?
No, I think you've said it well. Come to the show. That's the big thing. Come to the show.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Thanks so much.
Yeah. Cheers, mate.
Oh.